The story begins with a flicker of light from two phones. Miyuki's message appears on Ichi's screen, a last-minute cancellation, blaming a sudden club activity. Her words are polite, empty. Ichi's reply is a masterpiece of forced cheerfulness, telling her not to worry and wishing her luck, a perfect performance that cracks the second his thumb leaves the screen. The scene shifts to Ichi himself, a solitary figure on a rattling train. The cheerful anniversary plans that had filled his mind are now just ghosts, replaced by a hollow disappointment. He clutches his phone, the instrument of his dismissal, and loses himself in thoughts of Amada Miyuki. She is his childhood friend, the girl he admired from afar for years before he miraculously summoned the courage to confess last Christmas. To him, she was always an idol, unattainable and radiant. He still can't believe his luck that she said yes, that for 6 months she's been his girlfriend. Yet, in all that time, his shy, reverent love has meant they haven't even shared their first kiss. And now she has canceled their first official date. He wanders the bustling streets, a ghost of the happy man he was supposed to be today, and stops before a movie theater, the one they had chosen together. His mind conjures a daydream, the darkness of the theater, Miyuki's presence beside him, a moment of potential closeness. He snaps back to reality, his cheeks flushing with embarrassment at his own fantasy. It is then that his surroundings truly register. The whispered intimacies of other couples, the distinctive architecture, he has unconsciously wandered into the love hotel district. A fresh wave of heat floods his face. His mind, treacherous and hopeful, paints another picture. A different room, a nervous Miyuki, a moment of profound intimacy. He shakes his head, disgusted with himself for the thought, and decides to flee this embarrassing place. But fate has a far crueler twist in store. As he turns, his world fractures. There she is, Miyuki, not at club practice, but here, her smile brighter than he's ever seen it, as she clings to the arm of another boy, a handsome blonde senpai. Ichi is petrified. Her name is a choked whisper on his lips. When she finally notices him, her face morphs from joy to pure, unadulterated shock. Ichi, why are you here? The question, so innocent and so damning, shatters his paralysis. A torrent of rage and pain propels him forward. He grabs her arm, not thinking, only feeling. She cries out that he's hurting her, and the spell is broken by a fist. The blonde senpai's punch is brutal and precise, sending Ichi sprawling to the ground. "What the hell do you think you're doing to my girl?" the senpai snarls. "Your girl? She cheated," Ichi stammers from the pavement, his face throbbing. The senpai only smirks, a predator toying with wounded prey. He asks if Ichi is some kind of stalker and commands Miyuki to speak. He reveals the devastating truth. Miyuki only dated Ichi out of pity for their childhood friendship. He cruelly lists Ichi's perceived flaws, his boring nature, his gross, sweaty hands, and delivers the final, soul-crushing blow. "She always says that kind of stuff when we're in bed together." Ichi's world dissolves into static horror. He can only stare, clutching his chest, as the senpai turns the screws. He gives Miyuki an ultimatum: break up with Ichi right now, or he's through with her. Tears stream down Miyuki's face. In a moment of pure, desperate anguish, she makes her choice. She begs the senpai not to leave her, screaming she can't live without him. He pats her head, a master rewarding a pet, but isn't finished. He demands she say it aloud. Who is Ichi? Miyuki looks at the boy she grew up with, her face shadowed. The words that come out are not hers, yet they are. She calls him clingy, possessive, a stalker. With a terrifying smile, she brands him a horrible, abusive boyfriend. On orders, she makes it final. She can't be with him anymore, and he is not to speak to her at school ever again. Ichi is left on the ground, completely and utterly broken. From that day, his life unravels. He retreats to his family's restaurant, Ano Kitchen, where his brother and mother greet him with cheerful concern he can't reciprocate. He takes to his bed, a prisoner of shock and despair. The same horrible nightmare traps him each time he closes his eyes. Miyuki in the senpai's arms, mocking him, calling him disgusting, a creepy guy he needs to forget. He becomes afraid to sleep. School is now a gauntlet of hell. A friendly clap on the shoulder and a question about Miyuki is a fresh torture. When he finally tries to approach her, her best friend intercepts him, a shield of venom, calling him a disgusting abuser and a stalker, threatening him and pulling a passive Miyuki away. The harassment escalates. That night, his phone erupts with a flood of anonymous hate mail. Die, disgusting, abusive bastard. The messages are a relentless digital assault, calling him a violent creep, a stalker, scum who should disappear. The next day, the entire classroom falls silent when he enters. Whispers and hateful blares follow him to his desk. The accusations fly from all sides, a chorus condemning him. Miyuki's friend slams her hand on his desk, screaming that he's a criminal, that everyone believes Miyuki and the soccer ace Kondo-senpai over a nobody like him. Ichi lowers his head, completely defeated. He is utterly alone. Eating lunch by himself, he gets a message that club activities are canceled. He goes anyway, hoping for solace, only to overhear his clubmates discussing how they lied to get rid of him, calling him pathetic and talentless, having already thrown his work away. He flees, tears streaming down his face, and tries a teacher's office, only to see Miyuki's friend already there, painting him as the villain. The final threat comes via a note in his locker. If he complains, they'll target his family's shop. He runs home, where his mother and brother, who have shouldered the burden of their family since their father's death, smile and tell him not to worry, to just enjoy school. Their unconditional love is a weight he cannot bear. He resolves to endure, to suffer in silence so they can remain happy. Meanwhile, Miyuki sits sleepless in her room, haunted by guilt. She traces the path of her betrayal, how her friends introduced her to Kondo-senpai, how his flattery and mature allure seduced her, how he masterfully manipulated her insecurities about her slow-moving relationship with Ichi. He took everything she had saved for Ichi, and then, when she hesitated about Ichi's birthday, he coldly threatened to replace her, forcing her to choose. She chose the senpai, believing Ichi's kindness would forever be her safety net. Now, she sees that net is gone. Ichi is being systematically destroyed. Her own lies have taken on a life of their own, amplified by her friends and Kondo's influence. She is a prisoner of the narrative she helped create, watching the boy she once loved be crucified for a crime he didn't commit, too cowardly to speak the truth. The persecution intensifies. Ichi's desk is vandalized, his shoes dirtied, his name synonymous with disgust throughout the school. The final blow comes when he enters a classroom to find the blackboard covered in cruel words and photos of him and his family's restaurant. His private hell has now threatened the only safe place he has left. Overwhelmed by a rage he didn't know he possessed, he punches the wall. Why? Kondo-senpai appears, his face a mask of sadistic satisfaction. He openly admits the truth. He did it all because it was fun. He enjoyed the show of watching Ichi lose everything. He tells Ichi it's his own fault for believing someone like him could be with Miyuki, and suggests he just quit. The revelation destroys the last of Ichi's spirit. He collapses. He wakes up in the infirmary, a nurse's kindness feeling like a mockery. The final betrayal arrives on his phone, a message from his club president bowing to pressure, officially asking him to leave the club. His friends have blocked him. Completely alone, abandoned by everyone, Ichi finally breaks down completely. He stumbles through the days, a hollow shell, hoping his heart will simply grow numb to the constant cruelty. He finds himself at the top of a staircase, the door to the rooftop before him. The insults echo in his mind, a relentless torment. A single, terrible thought offers a seductive peace. Ending it would make everything easier. His hand reaches for the doorknob. He pushes it open and steps onto the rooftop, a dark silhouette against the vast, bright sky. He is ready to end the misery. But he is not alone. A girl stands there, her blonde hair catching the sun, her green eyes wide with surprise. She turns to face him. In this moment of utter despair, a new figure enters his story, the girl who would change his fate. Who are you? He turns. A girl stands there, her gaze direct and unsettling. The question feels less like a request for information and more like a challenge. Flustered, Ag fumbles for an identity that isn't drenched in despair. Ano Ag, a second year, he stammers, fabricating a flimsy excuse about skipping class and wandering. He clutches the lie tightly, a shield against the unbearable truth of why he'd really come up here. She recognizes the name. Ano senpai. Her tone is flat, devoid of the reverence he's heard from others. He, in turn, places her, Ichijo, the prodigy, the girl who topped the entrance exams, a celebrity known for a beauty as sharp as her intellect and a reputation for brutally rejecting any boy brave enough to confess. Her presence here feels like a cosmic joke. Of all people, why her? Why now, when he sought final solitude? He tries to explain, his voice weary. He just needs a place to hide, a temporary refuge from the vicious rumors that stalk the halls below. He mentions them, a warning and a plea for her to leave him to his misery. Her response is immediate and fierce. No, the word is absolute. This is my place. I won't give it up. Stunned, he presses her. Is she sure? Has she not heard what they're saying about him? Her irritation is palpable. I said I know about the rumors. She sighs, a sound of profound exasperation. They're just noise, words people throw around without a single shred of proof. Her voice gains strength, laced with a contempt that isn't directed at him, but at the mob mentality below. Love makes people stupid. They believe whatever one-sided story confirms their own biases. It's disgusting, pointing fingers without knowing a single truth. A fragile, impossible hope flickers in Ag's chest. He looks down, his voice barely a whisper. Does that mean you believe me? She doesn't offer him empty comfort. Her conviction is something far stronger. It's not about belief, it's about principle. Judging someone based on biased gossip is just wrong. The simple, unwavering justice in her words is a lifeline he never expected. The dam inside him breaks. Tears well in his eyes, not of sadness, but of pure, overwhelming relief. For the first time in weeks, someone has seen him, not the monster in the stories. Thank you, he chokes out. She is taken aback, her own defenses faltering for a second. Why are you thanking me? She asks, irritated by the vulnerability she's somehow provoked. He just gives a weak laugh, unable to explain the magnitude of what her simple fairness has done. Then the sky opens. Rain pours down in thick, heavy sheets, drenching them instantly. Ag, jolted into practicality, suggests they go inside. But Ichijo doesn't move. Just leave me alone, she snaps, her voice cracking. The rain mats her hair to her face, mixing with what might be tears. Why won't you just go? He is paralyzed, confused by her sudden anguish. What's the reason? Why are you doing this? It doesn't matter if I catch a cold, she cries out, her voice desolate, breaking under a weight he doesn't yet understand. The truth of her presence here crashes down on him. She wasn't here for solitude. She was here for the same reason he was. Panic surging, he rushes forward as she turns toward the edge. Wait, he grabs her wrist, his grip tight. Let go of me, she screams, struggling against him, her face a mask of panic and fury. Enough, he shouts back, his own voice raw with emotion, pulling her back from the perilous, slick edge. They crash against the safety fence, the impact jarring. She demands to know why he stopped her, ranting about rusty railings and futility. Shut up, he bursts out, his own despair giving way to a desperate, fierce need to protect her. In a moment of mad, inspired impulsivity, he yells a proposition into the storm. If you want to die that badly, then at least spend this last day with me. Let's skip class together. She stares at him, utterly shocked, her anger momentarily derailed by the sheer absurdity of his offer. She yells at him, asking if he even grasps the gravity of their situation. But the fight seems to drain out of her, replaced by a numb resignation. I guess I don't have a choice, she mutters. Sitting on the rain-soaked concrete, Ag makes his own confession, his voice quiet now. I came up here thinking about dying too. A faint, sad smile touches his lips. I just never imagined I'd end up stopping a cute kohai from doing the same. The admission leaves her speechless. She looks at him, really looks at him, seeing the same depth of pain mirrored in his eyes. The rain continues to fall, but the storm between them begins to calm. Yeah, she says softly, the fight gone from her voice. That's just how it is. A moment of profound, quiet understanding passes between two shattered people on a rainy rooftop. Later, as they decide to seek shelter, Ag offers her his handkerchief. She hesitates, a flicker of her earlier defensiveness returning, but accepts it with a quiet thanks. As she dries her face, she catches him looking and blushes, scolding him for staring. He quickly apologizes, flustered, only to glance back again, captivated by the ordinary, human act he's been granted witness to. She teases him, calling it harassment, and he stammers another apology. The dynamic has shifted. The tension is now threaded with a strange, new familiarity. "So," she says, her tone calmer, a subtle smile playing on her lips. "You invited me to skip class. What's the plan?" Ag admits with a sheepish smile that he has none. He'd spoken out of desperation. He finds himself thinking, so this is what her smile looks like. He mentions the rumors he'd heard about her, how she coldly crushed the boys who confessed. Her expression sours. "Why would I go out with some weird guy who approaches me out of nowhere?" she says, her disdain clear. Then her gaze turns serious, piercing. "Are you only interested because of my looks or my status?" He's surprised. The rumors painted her as a cruel ice queen, but her rejection seems born of a desire for genuine connection, not a thirst for cruelty. His stomach chews that moment to growl, loudly, shattering the serious mood. Mortified, he rummages through his bag and produces a convenience store onigiri. He offers her half. She accepts, taking a small, tentative bite. Her eyes widen. "This is delicious," she says, genuine surprise in her voice. "Tuna mayo?" He confirms, amazed she's never tried this simple staple. Her wonder is palpable. Does everyone eat such tasty things? He smiles, a real, full smile for the first time in what feels like forever. "Yeah, there's a whole world of them out there. It'd be a shame to die without tasting them all." A new light sparks in her eyes. She clenches her fist with sudden determination. "It really is delicious. Now I'm curious." Emboldened by the moment, by this small shared joy, he makes an impulsive invitation. "Do you want to go to my house?" The question hangs in the air, leaving her completely flustered and him immediately realizing how it sounded. Their escape from school becomes a clumsy conspiratorial adventure. She points out the locked main gate, and he jokingly suggests jumping it, earning an indignant retort about her skirt. Grinning, he reveals his delinquent knowledge, a side door that locks from the outside but can be opened from within. "How do you know about this?" she asks, suspicious. "A model student wouldn't," he teases. "Skipping class once in a while won't kill you." He takes her hand. He blushes furiously. "Why are you so red?" she asks, though a faint pink colors her own cheeks. "Just hurry up." She admits that being comfortable would be a lie, but in a story, it would be normal. Then, softly, she adds a confession of her own. "This is my first time holding a boy's hand. Appreciate it." The admission sends his heart into a frenzy. "I'm going to turn into a tomato," he thinks. With new resolve, she tightens her grip on his hand. "Let's do this." And they run. Hand in hand, they dash away from the school, from the rumors, from their pain. A voice calls out distantly behind them, but they don't look back. They just run, leaving the past behind and racing toward an uncertain but suddenly brighter future. Girl was still not understanding just why she felt so comfortable around him. Even as he grabbed her hand, she somehow felt at ease. Being a top idol in the school came with a lot of attention, and cheesy pickup lines from boys were all around her. So much so that she became tired of their useless nonsense. When someone keeps hearing the same lies over and over, it creates an atmosphere that just makes a person want to run away. And this was what happened to Ahi here. As she clenched her hand tightly, she reflected on how Agi was different. As she blushed a little, she finally met someone who made her heart flutter. As they ran on the other side, we got a gut-wrenching introduction to the certified trash condo. He introduced himself as the man in the center of this world, the great and mighty one. From day one, he was blessed with looks and influence, all thanks to his father, who made him a spoiled brat. His father was a city councilman with power in his hand at all times. Right off the bat, he studied in the top universities and had nothing to hold him back. When he was in a soccer club, he realized he had a talent for it and easily breezed past the competition, making it to the national teams. Just as life couldn't get any more fun, he was scouted by big leagues, and he had obviously already signed all sorts of deals with them. This was just a basic level of things. With his tall height and good looks since elementary school, he was surrounded by girls of all ages and types. He was so popular that he had a girlfriend for each day of the week. One day, he ended up seeing something that just made him flutter. On his way, he saw a nobody dating another popular amateur idol. Seeing this, he was just driven by lust, excitement, and the thrill of destroying things. He remembered hearing that these two had talked of marrying each other in the future. Just being there, he knew how he would make his way into her underwear in the fastest and most disgusting way. After just a few days of hanging around with her, he already had her wrapped around his finger. It got to the point that she would first joke about her boyfriend, but slowly she started to badmouth him, just like Agi's ex did. Now, Trash Kondo saw that she was already making herself a victim of dating a nobody otaku who was obsessed with anime, and he mocked them both. He recorded her words while enjoying his time with her and then played it for her boyfriend. When he saw the reaction on that poor guy's face, he was pleased to see that he had destroyed something so pure in a matter of hours. That poor soul also cried like a broken man and asked just why she would betray him. Seeing his tears, helplessness, misery, and unfortunate situation, Kondo was aroused, and the sheer scale of pleasure he got from it was so strong that he knew he could never feel this way even if he slept with 100 girls. Her girlfriend immediately started to act arrogantly, and she dumped her boyfriend like he was a stone in her path. Now, Kondo was obviously just having fun, and soon her attitude began to bore him. He told himself that he found it more pleasing when he stole other people's love for himself. That girl began to invite him over to her place more often, and God knows what they did. Slowly, her grades began to fall drastically, and she soon became the topic of conversation for the whole school. Kondo's basic mission was to destroy relationships, have his way with women, and then abandon them with mental problems. As always, he dumped that cheater as well. She cried just like Miyuki, but her tears and body were just already boring to him. He brought out his phone and began to text another girl, telling her that her nagging and voice already made her a loose woman and that he hated her type of women. Now, this was the regular thing that he would do: find a beautiful, innocent girl in a relationship, spoil her and enjoy everything, and then dump her into the trash. Obviously, this was not just simple, as the girls who go through his relationships end up being bullied and harassed by his followers and other classmates. This was his beginning and end, and as he watched their fall, it made him feel like the bigger man. He grew when others fell. As time passed, his next target was Miyuki, and as he did all sorts of things with her, it was now time to destroy Agi's life. Before the rumors, Kondo grabbed onto her hand, and it seemed like she had big bruises on her wrist. And he took some clever pictures and immediately began spreading them all over the school. As she herself played this all like a victim, it made the story even more believable. He immediately posted it on social media, and that post ended up being viewed by the whole school. As he smirked, he wondered just how far Agi would fall. On the other side, our beautiful, disgusting Miyuki was already shivering from realizing that her affair had already spread everything on the internet, and he ignored her words. She also pointed out that some people were erasing the mean and hurtful things they wrote on his desk. Since everyone knew that Agi wasn't back after going to the roof, the allies had thought that maybe he did something terrible, and that was why they were erasing their words. Her stupid brain was wondering if he would quit school because of her. We also saw her brave action when Kondo began to spread the lies. And during everything, she was comforting herself that she did nothing wrong and didn't know anything. As she glanced to the side, she ended up seeing Agi's head, and for a minute, her world brightened up since this was her piggy bank in the future. As she called out to his name, she also saw that he was holding hands with another girl. As she saw this, in the next second, all imagination, wondering, and realization ended, and one word circled around her tiny brain. Miyuki just saw the act of mercy from fate. And as her eyes widened, she just couldn't hold back her regret and helplessness. As she went crazy from seeing another girl beside him, she began to tear up and shout at Agi for being a homewrecker. The greatest teacher ever, Takiyangi, let out a big sigh of relief after seeing that Agi was running around fine and had stepped down from the roof. Takiyangi is the homeroom teacher of their class. Just a few minutes ago, he saw Agi's desk covered with the erased markings of hurtful words, and he decided to take a closer look. As he called for attendance, he called out to his name, and sure enough, there were words written for him. He knew that his student was suffering, and he asked everyone about the whereabouts of Agi, but all of his stupid classmates made up things and mentioned that he was in the nurse's office. He told his class to line up for the gym and told them that he would check up on him. As he walked outside, he remembered that Miyuki was very close to him, and as he glanced at her, she was sweating heavily, and it seemed like she saw something so terrifying that her soul was crushed. He slid the door, and from the side, another teacher approached him. The nurse's teacher from earlier greeted him and shared that Agi was nowhere to be found. She let him know that it had been a while since he was out, and as he realized that something worse must have happened, she told him that she would search the school, but he replied to her and told her that he would visit the vice principal's office. He obviously informed another person, and as he sweated, he told Takeyangi to ask his whole class about this. In the class, his entire mood changed, and with a cold voice, he asked all his stupid students if they knew the meaning of property damage. They all began to mutter, and he pointed out to the Mark's desk and let everyone know that he didn't know who did this. Seeing the words, he let them know that even an adolescent could guess if it was a prank or bullying. He reminded them that the school desks were school property and that public property paid for by their parents' taxes was important. And since some smartass kids damaged that, he let everyone know that damaging others' property is a crime. With a firm voice, he let everyone know that writing slander to make someone feel bad is not an easy thing to process, endure, and later suffer the consequences of. As the pathetic bullies panicked just a little, the teacher let them know that recently, people who harass celebrity get arrested, and if they think that they are students, he added that they would get the piece of the pie that they were wishing for. With an angry voice, he told everyone that since the whole class was involved in bullying, this thing would not be brushed away as pranks or jokes. He told everyone that he would remember this and consider this a proper crime against another human with feelings and emotions.